Hello and welcome back to Navigating with Key. My name is Kenneth Eneojor Asenime, K-E-A-K, and I'm grateful you have joined me for another conversation about navigating life's uncertain season in the Sail Framework series. In our last episode, we explored the first principle of the Sail Framework, which was slow down. We discovered that clarity often comes after we stop rushing. We looked at why we resist slowing down if slowing down is really that important, and then shared some practical steps on how to slow down actually. So I hope you took some notes. I hope you took some time to document your sale log for last week. And if you missed last week's broadcast, I will advise you go back and watch it first. Because you see, these principles kind of build on the previous. So if you have no experience on the slow down principle, which we talked about last week, it will be kind of difficult to really follow this next principle. So I will say, go back, watch the slow down broadcast, and then continue with episode 2. So the link for last week's broadcast, I'm pretty sure should be floating somewhere on this video. So just click on it and then you can get up to speed with the principles we're discussing. So today we move to the second principle in our SAIL framework, which is the letter A. Remember SAIL, S-A-I-L, S for slow down. And today A is accept where you are. So this may just be the hardest step of them all, not because it's complicated, but because it requires honesty. So if you're ready, let's sail into today's broadcast. Let's do this. Many people think accepting a situation means giving up. It doesn't mean giving up. Acceptance is not saying this is all life will ever be. Acceptance is actually saying this is where I am today. There is a huge difference. My older brother is a professor of transport and logistics, and I want to give a shout out to him, Professor Charles Asenime. He is a huge influence in my life. So he likes to talk about GPS always. Many times he has told us stories about GPS. So I'm going to use a GPS example to express my point. Now imagine this. You are using a GPS map, right? And you refuse to enter your current location on the map. Okay, let me make this a little clearer. So you go to Google Map and put in your destination, but you refuse to put in your current location. You see, no matter how good the map is, it cannot guide you from a place you pretend you are not. And life typically works in the same way. Growth starts where honesty begins. So accepting where you are is really not giving up. It is the beginning of meaningful movement. There was a season in my life when I experienced a significant setback. Like many people, I had carefully planned the future. I believe that if I worked hard, stayed disciplined, and remained committed, things would maybe unfold according to my own plans. But instead, I found myself navigating unexpected changes. Things just didn't match my dreams, and it really got frustrating. I know it challenged my confidence. It questioned my identity. You know how sometimes people would pray and say, God, please Don't let people ask me, where is my God? It was that kind of situation. I started wondering, am I on the right path? You know, it forced me to rethink what success really meant. But you see, at first, I spent too much energy wishing life would return to what it had been. You know, I compared my current reality to where I thought I should be. And that comparison only deepened my frustration. In fact, there's uh, there's this reel I saw on Instagram where the guy was screaming, Yakubu, manage. It will feel like you want to die, but you will not die. Manage. It was that kind of situation, right? You know, and the issue was, it was even beginning to affect my health. It was affecting my job. It was affecting my family. But you see, everything began to change when I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And I started asking, what can I really learn from where I am today? Like, what could I have done differently to give me a different result? So, acceptance didn't remove the challenge, it just changed how I walked through it. So, looking back, I now see that some of the opportunities and growth I enjoy today only became possible because I stopped resisting reality and started working with acceptance. I accepted the situation and started working with it. So acceptance creates space for hope. Acceptance doesn't create hope because the situation suddenly improves. It creates hope because acceptance changes your relationship with the situation. When you stop spending your energy wishing reality were different, you have energy to invest in creating a better future. When we stop pretending everything is fine, we can finally begin healing. Now, listen to this. When we admit we are tired, we can finally begin resting. When we admit we're afraid, we can begin building courage again. Accepting where you are is no weakness, it is wisdom. Underline it. It is wisdom. The first step to healing is acceptance. So I want you to ask yourself three questions today. What reality have I been resisting? What truth do I need to acknowledge? And what becomes possible once I stop fighting reality? Ask yourself those questions. And like we do on this series, we have our sale log. And for this week, our sale log is for slow down. Ask yourself this: where do I need to pause? Look at your life and ask, in what part of my life do I really need to slow down? Then, in the accept part, you ask yourself this: what truth have I been avoiding? You know it, it's you. Look at your life. What is the truth about your life that you've been avoiding? You've been you've decided not to confront. Then on the identify part in your sale log, ask yourself this: what opportunity exists within my current situation? And then for lead forward, ask yourself this: what small act of acceptance will I practice today? The moment you stop fighting reality is the moment you free yourself to move forward. You may not like every season you are in, but every season carries lessons and opportunities, and that can prepare you for what's next. Remember, you cannot navigate from a place you refuse to acknowledge. Real progress begins with real honesty, honest assessment of where you are today, not where you wish you were or where others expect you to be. It starts with an honest assessment of where you are today. So take a deep breath. Be kind to yourself. Embrace your current season with courage, all right? Because your present circumstances do not determine your final destination. But acceptance alone isn't enough. Once you've slowed down and accepted where you are, a new question naturally emerges. So, what do I do next? That's exactly where we are headed in our next episode as we explore the third principle of the SAIL framework, which is I, that is, identify your next step. We'll discover why life isn't changed by having all the answers, but by taking one faithful step at a time. We'll talk about overcoming the paralysis of uncertainty and making progress without having the entire map, and how small intentional actions can lead to extraordinary transformation. So until then, remember this: you don't need to have your whole future figured out today. You simply need the courage to be honest about where you are, trust the journey you're on, and prepare for the next step that's waiting for you. Thank you for spending this time with me on Navigating with Key. If this episode encouraged you, please subscribe, share it with someone who may need it, and join me for episode 3 of the SAIL Framework series as we continue learning how to navigate life's uncertain seasons together. So until next time, my name is Kenneth Eneojor Asenime, KEA, and I remain your host on Navigating with Key. Accept your reality, trust your journey, and keep navigating. Bye bye.